Tesla stock, the top performer on the S&P 500 today, and it's up more than 80% since the election just 6 weeks ago.
Looks like the stock market delivered an early Christmas present for Tesla investors. At this point in time, I am noticing quite an interesting narrative. Many folks on Wall Street, analysts, and in the finance media attempting to explain that a Trump presidency totally justifies Tesla doubling in market cap. Now, look, it's good for the company, very positive, but it's not worth $1 trillion, bro. So the question becomes, was the market not accurately valuing Tesla prior to Trump's election? Was it massively undervalued then? Was Tesla stock in the $100 or so range less than 12 months ago, bargain of the fucking century? And were smart investors loading up on Tesla stock hand over fist that entire time? Lost in the noise around the Trump presidency, and don't get me wrong, it is going to bring in an economic era of prosperity for the United States, a golden era. It's going to be great for everyone. Businesses, consumers, a rising tide will lift all boats. Just watch. But lost in the noise around Trump and Tesla's surge is a massive shift in perceptions around Tesla that I really start to sense is happening. Now, this is not super scientific, right? This is just a gut feel. But I'm listening to what people are saying, their reasoning, watching a lot of long-form podcasts and interviews, some great content, and I'm starting to get the sense that many who previously completely dismissed either Tesla's technology when it comes to autonomy, their lead when it comes to autonomy, their approach when it comes to autonomy, their point of difference, their data lead, their strategy. People who previously completely dismissed this or ignored it are now at least starting to ask questions. Hang on a minute. What if they actually do what they say they're going to do? What if robotaxis do begin operating in 2025? What would that mean? What if customers do actually add their vehicles to Tesla's robotaxi fleet and Tesla takes a cut of those fares? What would that do to their profitability? In short, it appears that the narrative Tesla is just a car company is slowly starting to slip away from those on Wall Street. Not completely gone, but if big money investors who tend to move the market start to, no pun intended, appreciate the financial potential of Tesla robotaxis at scale, could make the last few months look like a speck. Of course, the narrative from some will likely continue to be Tesla is just a car company. They need to sell cars, growth automotive margins, the competition is coming, look out for China and so on. But surely it can't last that much longer. If Tesla does begin operating the first robotaxis, e.g. Model 3s and Model Ys, let's say Austin, San Francisco, sometime next year, as I record this to you in late December, how much longer can people keep talking about Tesla's car business and ignoring autonomy? So first, let's watch a very short clip from a few days ago.
How are you thinking the EV landscape changes come January 20th?
Well, look, let's look at the big picture first. Some people are saying EV growth is slowing down. Nonsense. 1 out of 5 of all cars sold globally in 2024 will be electric or hybrid. So we're living in an EV world and it's just moving faster. That's 25% year over year growth, 17 million EVs sold globally. US, Canada, solid growth, about 12%. China red hot at 40%. And the big stories, as you talked about, are kind of Tesla versus BYD, who's going to be the global leader. And then there's this other issue of US versus China and how are tariffs going to affect this. And what people have to remember, US has already slapped 100% tariffs on any Chinese car sold in the US, but that's virtually none. You got to ask the question, what happens if the Chinese slap 100% tariffs on US cars or automakers selling cars?
Will that happen? Do you think that's a high risk even for a Tesla?
Oh, look, whenever there are tariffs slapped on by one country or another, you've got to expect the other country to respond. The big question is it cars that are already made in that country or just cars that come from the US going to China?
Now, certainly there could be reciprocal tariffs either way, but if this were to occur, and I don't know if it's super likely, Chinese government really loves electric vehicles, so we'll see. It's extremely unlikely that there would be tariffs. I mean, this doesn't really make sense on made in China Teslas being sold in China, right? After all, the very definition of tariff refers to imports and or exports, right? They're not talking about locally produced products. So it's certainly possible maybe the Model S and X coming from the US into China get slapped with a tariff in the worst case scenario. But the companies that this would most affect are those who, one, do not have a local production in China of compelling electric vehicles, and also just more broadly, companies happening to have a tariff slapped on their vehicles which they already struggle to make money selling. However, there are many other places around the world that companies like Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers and elsewhere can sell vehicles that don't get slapped with massive tariffs, and that's exactly what's happening.
But the punchline is the same. There's a lot more US automakers selling cars into China than vice versa, so the US needs to be careful on this one.
And yet, we have seen vibes, or whether it be real political clout, driving Tesla's share price up and to the right ever since the results of the election.
Right, there it is. That's right, the demeaning term vibes. Attached to the narrative, Tesla retail investors are dumb fucks. Valuation makes no sense. Tesla's just a car company. There's no possibility at all that some investors in the stock market are starting to appreciate some of the potential for autonomy. Valuation makes no sense. Stock's too high. Retail investors are dumb. Vibes. Need to remind you, folks, Tesla stock, as I record this, is not that far off where it was 3 fucking years ago. Interesting.
Has any of this China-US tension been priced in, do you think, Steve?
Well, I think people don't have their arms around it quite yet. So you've got to look at the Tesla share price, 76% growth since January 1 of this year. That's astonishing. The big question is, can Tesla keep it up? And I think it's going to be tough without getting some new products into the market. Tesla's auto growth this year, after...
Wait. So earlier I was talking about car company, just a car company. Did he just say that basically in order for Tesla, the company, to accrue additional value will be really tough unless they put more cars into the market as opposed to start deploying robotaxis? Is this what I'm hearing?
Roaring sales growth in 2021 and 2022, 51% and 70%. This year, it's darn near flat. So Tesla's got to get this newer, lower cost car into the market. There are new rumors that there's going to be a new sub $30,000 Model Q coming sometime in 2025.
Got a couple of things to say on this. Tesla's already told us a couple of earnings ago there are new vehicles with learnings from the modular manufacturing system, which is for the Cybercab, being implemented, and those vehicles enter production in the first half of 2025. So we know more affordable Tesla vehicles are entering production in the first half of 2025. Now, I don't actually think they're going to be entirely new vehicle models. I think it's just going to be completely revamped Model 3 and Y with a little bit of stuff stripped out, not just from the manufacturing process, but also from the consumer point of view. If you can pull 20, maybe even 30% of the cost out, it's going to be fucking epic. And Tesla's already mentioned too, they can get up to about 3 million vehicles per year of production without making any new facilities to produce those vehicles, just in their existing factory footprints. So we all know this is coming, but it's an irrelevant sideshow when we think about the potential of autonomy. I'm not sure if people have forgotten about this, but Tesla's told us what they're doing. Those new, more affordable Tesla vehicles, first half of 2025, enter production.
But we got to make sure that's real. So investors have to look at it. I think 25 is going to be a make or break year. It could see new heights if you can see a lower cost car coming out and the full self-driving improve, but it could also sink if they don't get a new car in the market, sales stay flat.
Is this real life? Does he know about Tesla's plans with autonomy? I'm very confused. Tesla's told investors that they intend on having their first robotaxis operational, which will be 3s and Ys with a software update in 2025. They even mentioned a couple of potential states and then maybe even more by the end of the year. Now, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to happen, but why is Steve so focused on cars? I don't understand. Does he not believe autonomy is going to happen? Or is he ignoring Tesla, or just doesn't listen to their earnings calls? What the fuck?
That's going to scare people. Now,
as an investor though, Steve, how hard has it been to read the tea leaves? Because we're trying to understand as to whether they're just going to cut costs of current models on the market and get us to some sort of sense of affordability. Because Elon just signals time and time again he's more interested in the robotaxi side, in the full self-driving side.
It's incredibly hard. I mean, share price going up 75% when sales are flat. I don't think anybody's ever seen anything like that before.
Notice he's talking about sales being flat, cars. And interestingly, just to remind everybody, Tesla stock collapsed almost 80% prior to its rebound of about 75%. Now, if Tesla were just a car company, they didn't have any real-world AI. They didn't have an obvious and unassailable lead when it comes to autonomy, or a brilliant 400 IQ strategy for deploying autonomy almost instantly. Click of a button over their software update, bam, printing crazy money. If they were just a car company and sales were just flat, you might be going, wait, that's a bit weird. But they're not. So, I mean, I almost sense like Steve's got a narrative to push, as opposed to, it's like he doesn't want to acknowledge what Tesla's doing around autonomy. Why would that be? Maybe I'm just imagining things.
Before what's going on, kind of a bet on full self-driving, and probably a bigger bet on Musk's relationship with President Trump. What no one's talking about is very quietly the energy division looks like the saving grace for Tesla. 75% year-over-year growth. The other thing investors have to get their arms around is auto companies aren't just auto companies anymore. They're also energy companies too. And it's a whole new world. You got to pay attention.
Definitely agree. Tesla's energy business is going fairly unnoticed, and it's a massive money printer, phenomenal growth, crazy wait times, incredible products. They're absolute no-brainers. They sell themselves. And these are big items too. We're talking purchases of hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars for one order of the big batteries. This shit is no joke. Don't sleep on Tesla Energy. But also, don't sleep on autonomy, which Steve seems to be doing.
Got to pay attention to the politics involved in it. This week, of course, we saw that, again, California is really going to be focusing in on ensuring EV adoption, Steve, where you sit. But also, we've got a news story around the potential unionization, let's call it subtly being done over with Rivian. We understand the UAW has reached a kind of secret deal with Rivian to make unionization easier as and when it becomes a profitable company. How much do you think that's a key area, the labor side of things for the EV space?
Well, look, the labor side's huge because labor costs are going up. This is one of the things that's plagued GM and Ford for years. And what's interesting is Musk is great at pulling out all the stops, making things go faster than any other automaker, but he still has to deal with unions. And he may be the wealthiest guy in the world, but that's not going to impact how well he wins union battles. German workers potentially out on strike soon, precisely when he's trying to catch up for Q4 sales. So it's going to be interesting to see, can Tesla's auto sales increase this year? He cannot show year-over-year growth. Gosh, that's going to be a tough one to sell to shareholders.
Bro, auto growth. Oh, God. It's killing me. By the way, speaking about unions, so far Tesla's managed to avoid their employees from unionizing. It's almost like Tesla employees aren't dumb and they recognize that working for a company without a union siphoning off valuable resources, fucking you over, having stock-based compensation awards, getting equity in the company you work for, probably a better deal than unionizing. Unions, by the way, auto unions in particular, extremely corrupt, incompetent, total waste of money. Tesla employees, no. Why is this guy talking just about cars? Is it just me? Is he actively avoiding any mention of the Robotaxi fleet? He talks about FSD as if like the software product, like FSD adoption, right? But didn't hear anything about Robotaxi or autonomy. Is it just me? It's almost like Steve's actively trying to avoid mentioning that for some strange reason. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, or I can keep going. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs.